Welcome to the Prophecy Club, and if you stay to the end, I've got a special blessing for you, so I encourage you to stay all the way to the end. And I think I've got some real important information. Our topic is some new information that says all ATMs and banks are soon to be closed. When? Well, I don't know. My guess is very possible this year. Now, why do I say that? Well, we're watching for the headline, Omar ushers in Palestinian state. Okay, so let's just talk about that a little bit. If it's going to occur this year, it's going to occur before June 14th. And if America splits Israel, then God is going to split Israel. And based upon something I'm about to show you, apparently it is going to be the bad one, where a meteor. Okay, I know, I understand how crazy that sounds. Okay, Stan, God has not hit the earth with a meteor likened unto the flood in some 3,500 years. And now you're thinking it could happen in the next 30 days? Well, it's not me. I mean, I'm just trying to interpret what the prophecies are saying. But it could be. It could be. Okay, so I'm recording this on a Tuesday. And so by the time you see it, it's going to be 23 days left in the counting of the Omer. And if God does to America what he's done in the past, in other words, when we bless Israel, the very next day, America gets blessed. When we hurt Israel, the very next day, America gets hurt. So if America splits Israel, and it appears that we are, the very next day, God will hit America. And from the prophecies I'm about to read today, one of them specifically says meteor, or the word rock. We could be really close. Yeah, I know how that sounds. I mean, and I want to be credible. I want to tell you the truth. I want to bring you the truth. Hopefully you know that in my heart. But at the same time, I have to tell you what the prophecies seem to be saying. So we're looking for Omar ushers in Palestinian state. Nothing says it has to be this year. I'd prefer it not to be this year. I'd like it to be about 20 years off. But the problem is a lot of things. I mean, the red heifer, a lot of things, the war with Israel and the Gaza Strip and all that sort of stuff. A lot of it is pointing to the fact that it could be that close. Now, let me just tell you the points I'm about to cover today. And the question is, where does the internal revolution set in here? Okay, so according to Shane Warren, the dollar is going to fall, then a new Madrid earthquake, then a wealth transfer, miracles return to the church. Now, is the internal revolution happening somewhere there, or somewhere there, or somewhere there? We don't exactly know. But I'm going to, probably tomorrow, I think we can get it ready for you tomorrow, but I watched Sean Hannity last night, and he had Marco Rubio on. And Marco Rubio said that there's 12 or 13 Dems that are planning on not certifying the election. They say no matter what happens, they're not going to certify the election.
Senator Marco Rubio is here with reaction. You know, Republicans don't go in prepared, and it's a hostile environment. By the way, people don't even watch those Sunday shows anymore. The days of Brinkley and Russert, they're long gone. And people aren't even watching those Sunday shows like they used to. And I just love the fact when you go on, you don't take their crap.
Well, I mean, the premise is something that needs to be challenged, because the truth is that, you know, most people have forgotten that they did all of that, you know, because it isn't widely reported. There certainly wasn't a string of repeated interviews in which every Democrat has asked these questions. But I think we need to understand what's happening right this very moment. Okay, there are Democrats right now that are toying with the idea. There was a piece in the Atlantic. There were people that wouldn't comment on it. Some are toying with it, with this whole notion that if Trump wins, they will basically refuse to certify, because they're going to argue that he is an insurrectionist and therefore ineligible to hold office, and that'll be grounds to throw out the electors of these states and so forth. They're already talking about that. And so I think it's important to point out that they should be the ones that are asked. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I would say 12, maybe 13 Democrats have appeared on Meet the Press in the last year under this host. Not a single one of them has been asked the question of whether they will accept the election if Trump wins, no matter what. They were never asked that question. They need to be asked that question, because they're the ones, as you said at the outset, they have challenged, they have disputed, the credibility and the legitimacy of every Republican presidential win since 2000.
Okay, so let's run with that. So now we have another thing that could cause the internal revolution. So Trump wins. He wins big. A few days later, when it comes time for them to certify the election, the Dems say, we're not going to certify him. And at that, Trump says, I've had enough, calls the military, internal revolution. Fall of America starts with an internal revolution given into Dmitry, August the 8th of 1984. And August 3rd, August 3rd, 1984. And August 3rd, 1984 is coming up again very soon. So, I don't know. So, what's going to cause the internal revolution? It's going to be an election. It's going to be Trump winning. Left won't certify. Military steps in civil war. I don't know. But there's a lot of things lining up like I've never seen. Okay, on to the next thing. If you have a large amount of money someplace, based upon what I'm about to tell you today, what the prophecies are saying, my suggestion is you call these folks 1-800-200-GOLD. Whether you have it in IRA, 401k, if you have it in paper meaning dollar, meaning money market, meaning the stock market, if you have it in paper, it's very risky and you could lose most, maybe even all of it. These guys will show you how not to lose your life savings. 1-800-200-GOLD. And in my opinion, I think you're running out of time. Matter of fact, I'm not convinced, because it takes a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to get this thing through. I'm not convinced that you're going to get it all the way through before things fall apart. If you're watching, if you believe what the prophets say, 800-200-GOLD, I'm telling you, better call them. Better call them. I want to tell you something. I can't. I want to tell you something I heard yesterday. I can't. It's close, brothers and sisters. It's close. Also, if you don't want to be begging food, you better go to Joseph Kitchen and get yourself some food. They can ship it out immediately. Well, I mean, within 24 hours. And $1,000 a person beats $9,000 a person for a year's worth of food. Also, if I don't put this note here, I'll forget it. It is summertime, it's vacation time, and every year this hits us, where all of a sudden the donations just stop. And I understand that. But if God has blessed you and you can help us, now would be a really good time. We struggle. We really struggle. I mean, everything just stops for the summertime. So if God has blessed you and you can help us, thank you. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so here's one of the new things. Now, I skipped about 3 paragraphs that had nothing to do with the point. So I'm going to get right to the point. She says, I unlocked the locker and reached into my bag and pulled out my wallet. I opened it and it was empty. All the cash is gone. There are no dollar bills or change, only credit cards. I exclaimed in surprise, what? Because I'd had over $3,000 of ministry cash for emergencies, and even my own cash, which I kept separate from ministry, was missing. Janelle yelled out to Chris. Her money was also gone. Another lady near us yelled out, call the police. Someone stole all my money too. Soon people all across the room were yelling, I've been robbed. My money is gone. Why do I still have my credit cards when my cash is gone? Why do I still have my credit cards when the cash is gone? That's important. The room was in an uproar as news spread quickly throughout the college. Everyone's cash and coins were gone. Over the loudspeaker, we heard, may we have your attention, please? Due to current events, now what are the current events? It could be an internal revolution. It could be a meteor hitting and a big earthquake hitting America. Due to current events, your cash money will no longer be accepted in America. All payments and donations must be made by digital means. Only this is effective immediately. Your cash money is useless. The dollars failed. Then they paused, saying, good news. Our event is now ready to commence. Please make your way back to the event arena and take your seats. Have a good day, everyone. Everyone seems to freeze in disbelief, not fully comprehending what had just happened. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed like thunder from heaven, saying, this is coming very soon to America. I'm going to say, from what I'm about to read you in another one, Due to the current event, it could very, very well be the meteor making a tsunami, splitting America. And that could happen before the end of June 2024. Now, am I saying it's going to happen? No, I don't know. Is it going to happen this year? No, I don't know. But it could. As a watchman, I'm obligated to tell you. Let's go on to the next one. Now, I read this 2 days ago, but for those of you who missed it, I'll just cover it quickly. Cuban bank system has collapsed. Cubans are reporting that via social media their money is all gone from the accounts. And all automated or ATMs, it's all gone. Even they broke into the banks, opened the vaults, and there was no cash or coin in the vaults. That's what they're saying. That confirms the other one. Now there's more. And I'll let you read that if you want. I just read it the other day. No sense reading it again. Now let's go back to another one. This is from Byron Searle. I believe this brother's hearing of the Lord. He said he saw a vision, saw a dollar lying on this is important, saw a dollar lying on the ground. It was face up. I could see George Washington's head. Then I saw what looked like a tiny point of laser beam or pinpoint sunlight through a magnifying glass being moved along the edges of the dollar bill. I think that's in progress now. As I watched, both ends caught fire and both burns from both sides of the dollar and began to move slowly towards the middle. The fire then started to move a little faster and get closer to Washington's face. Then suddenly a huge rock. Are you catching it? Suddenly a huge rock fell and crushed the dollar. All that was left remaining was the rock and smoke that was coming from underneath it. The vision ended and the Lord spoke this word to me. So what could the rock be? It could be the meteor that hits Mona Island, sending a tsunami up the East Coast, devastating the East Coast, opening the Great Lakes up, and large chunk of California all the way up into Alaska, falling in the ocean. That's what it could be. My son, what you've seen is the death of the dollar. Right now, it's slowly burning on both ends. Soon, very soon, as quickly as the huge rock fell on it, crushed it, the dollar will crash. Okay, so the picture here is that as the dollar is losing its value, which would be right now, anyway, the voice went on saying it will burn to 30%. Men will try to prop it up, but to no avail. Then it will continue to burn to 50%. That's the same thing Chris Reed was told, the same thing Dana Coverstone was told. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. But the thing he brings in is the rock. The rock killed the dollar. Well, I think you'd agree that if a meteor were to hit Mona Island and America be split in two, I think you'd agree that that would go ahead and kill the dollar. The picture here is when it hits 50% of value. Now, even on the news, they're saying that we have had a 20% devaluation of the dollar by inflation. They're saying 20% right now. Is this going to make it another year? Probably not. Men will panic, unable to stop the fire. Then a huge collapse will occur. Then my rock makes a visit. My son, this event will happen very quickly. All the banks will be closed. All ATMs will be down. No one will have access to their money. You want to read it again? What you saw is the death of the dollar. Dollar will crash. 30%, 50%, then his rock hits. Let's go on. This is when evil men will bring about a new money, one that cannot be held, digital. They're in process. All of this is now in progress. All men will be given an account with this money in the bank. This is the beginning of the beast system. Soon, men will need to have a number and mark to be able to access their money. And the same thing has already happened here in Australia. Major banks close and the citizens are forced to transition to a fully cashless society. It says that they are limiting the access they have right now to their own cash money. Here's another article. I already read this. I'll go through it quickly. Customers have to prove what they want to use the cash for or even get their own money out. Here, this is posted on one of the doors. Now, further confirmation. Jason Meeks, the dream starts out, we stopped at an ATM machine to get some cash. Yes, I've read this before. Let me point out something. He says, I put my card in, got $20 out, realized I didn't have enough money. Put it in again, got $20 out, but now the fee was $42. Just from the ATM fee, which is usually $1 or $2, the transactions were within seconds of each other, meaning that when it happens in a blink of an eye. And that's what David Phillips was shown. As we drive back home, we stopped at a major bank. The television screens were showing massive arrests. Internal revolution. Massive arrests. An alert was on my cell phone that DJT was assuming control as the new president. Notice it didn't say anything about an election won. Notice in other places it didn't say president. And here he says president. The one that I talked about yesterday, he's talking about a king. A king has a whole lot more power than a president. I expected people would be rioting and looting, but people were actually happy, celebrating in the streets, almost like after World War III or II. In the dream, a man came to me and started crying, saying how all of his evil bosses had been arrested and rounded up, telling me he was now in charge of the bank. He was a Christian and had been praying for this for years. As people took to the streets in victory and celebration, we joined in. We jumped on the back of a fire truck to catch a ride in the parade because the streets were full. You could not walk. Everything was amazing. Then I heard a huge explosion. Suitcase nuke? A suitcase nuke had been detonated within the city. I didn't see the explosion. He tells what he did, but let's go on. Then Barry Wunsch comes along. I'm only going to read a small portion of what he saw. He says, I woke up at 1:30 and I saw the front cover of a newspaper that said, Victory. Donald John Trump sweeps the nation. It was a time for the nation to celebrate, like a time of wars. At the end of a time of war, a celebration comes. I saw masses of people coming onto the streets with American flags, celebrating now, skipping a lot. And I saw big military cargo planes, open ramps, special teams from the United States, loaded pallets of legal documents, departing to, now look at this, this can tie in, to other nations to do likewise to foreign dignitaries awaiting their arrival in other nations. So there's not just a small internal revolution in America. This is something big around the globe. Plans were strategically set in place to arrest and bring foreign and corrupt leaders to justice. Now that ties in. Hang on. Chris Reed, 22. I saw an internal revolution happening in China. See, everybody's been saying, oh, China's bad guy. And I've been saying, look, Demetrius told that then God raised up China, Japan, and many of the nations, they'll go against the Russians. I've been telling you, China's going to be on our side. I don't know how. China's going to be on our side when Russia takes us out. Internal revolution happening in China. The below-ground church was about to see above-ground results. So much of the saber rattling when a nation is in decline or having internal turmoil, they usually try to start a war to distract off the internal domestic dissatisfaction. Not only did the Lord show me that, but he also said this is exactly why so much was allowed to be released from there a few weeks ago. It's because they were trying to keep people indoors from rioting. The Lord showed me that there was an internal revolution bubbling in China. That was back on October the 1st on Thanksgiving Day, the tragedy where people were welded shut in because of the zero policy in their houses and apartments. A fire started and burned 15 provinces in China. People were rioting, and it was all over the news. Now look at this, at the end of November. Now here he's not talking about the past. He's giving us a date. He's saying that something big happens in November, like an internal revolution in China. Unless I misunderstood that. You can pause and read it. Read it for yourself. The fire started and burned 15 provinces in China. People were rioting. It was all over the news at the end of November. The Lord was showing me this is the beginning of a revolution in China. An internal revolution is coming to China. You want me to read that paragraph again? A fire started and burned 15 provinces in China. Internal revolution. When? People were rioting, and it was all over the news at the end of November. Well, that kind of ties together with our election now, doesn't it? The Lord was showing me this is the beginning of a revolution in China. An internal revolution is coming to China. Not just China. Is this saying that something's going to happen on, about, or around November? See how it all ties together? You might want to watch this program twice. Real important information here. He said, when you see Xi Jinping fall, you'll see that's the sign of the internal revolution. The Communist Party will lose power, and China will devolve into states or separated sections, you might say, with varying degrees of democracy, freedom. Democracy is coming to China. Now, let's jump to the new Digital Checkbook. And this was on a program, but it was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 months ago. You probably forgot it. Dream of an 11-year-old child of one of the members of our congregation. I think it's of God, and I think you'll agree. In the dream, this 11-year-old says, I'm over at my grandfather's house. He wakes and has a t-shirt on that says, cash is king. Grandpa's favorite saying. In the dream, I sensed that the dollar crashed and was no good anymore. What's this, the fourth person that says this? Dream cuts to people walking on the street with nice clothes on, but somehow I knew money-wise they were poor. Somehow I knew this was a depression, like in the history books, only people had nice clothes instead of old clothes. What's that saying? Same thing Dana Coverstone saw. Okay, so it happened quickly. I saw in people's hands an electronic device about the size of a cell phone. If you can turn it sideways, and it was a checkbook, but all digital. I've never seen anything like it. It was like an iPad and a cell phone mixed together, but it was not a cell phone. You couldn't play games or apps or make a phone call. In other words, this device accesses your money so that no one can buy or sell save you had the mark of the name of the beast and the name of their name. It was strictly for currency. You could buy anything if you had enough of this digital currency, but you could not sell anything. Not everyone had equal amounts of this new currency. Only people like President Biden and Elon Musk were very, very famous people, had a lot of this new digital currency. Only a few of your average people had very little, just enough digital currency to buy basics for one day of their lives. The rest of the people had no digital currency, but still had the digital checkbook, but nothing in it. Makes sense, doesn't it? Dream cuts back to the grandpa. My grandpa says to himself while looking out the window, there's no way this is happening. There are too many rules in place. Then the dream cuts again to me and my grandpa in a war zone. Is that an internal revolution? See how they all kind of dovetail, all kind of fit together? I saw Grandpa get down because people are shooting at us. The soldiers had blonde hair and blue eyes with very pale skin. I could not tell what country they were from. He had dived into a trench with American soldiers, but the foreigners captured our area and took Grandpa prisoner. Somehow they knew that he had a lot of cash. I was lying in the trench scared. Somehow I knew Grandpa had died of stress, and I felt bad for my grandpa. Now, another confirmation. The Lord showed me an American flag. The flag transformed into a $100 bill waving in the wind. Suddenly it transformed into a digital code. Are you listening? A digital code, almost like a crypto code. It was moving like it was alive. It was like internet math code. It kept moving and moving, and I said, Lord, what is this? The Lord said, the dollar's about to turn into a digital dollar. What's this, the sixth person? He said it would be worth half what it's worth right now. So a $100 bill would be worth $50. Then he showed me the banks went all bankrupt. All the money that was in the banks, whether you were rich or poor, the banks seized it all. Are you getting this? All the money that was in the banks, whether you're rich or poor, the banks seized it all. That's the reason. If you have 401k, you have an IRA, you have money in the bank, you have money in the stock market. If you have money in paper, 800, 200 gold, if you don't want to lose it. And I'm telling you, I think it's so close, you might not be able to get it through. So if you think you're going to wait and delay, not good for you. All the money of the banks was seized. It was now the property of the bank. I don't know how much, But somehow they seized all the money in the banks and people lost it all. prophecyclubgold.com or 800-200-GOLD. Loans that you have on your house and your cars and everything. I saw that they took all of it. Take your house, take your cars. If you don't have the money to make payments for 2 or 3 months, maybe longer, because they took all your money, they take your house, take your cars, take everything you own. Unless you have gold or silver to something you can make your payments with, you see. They called it a debt jubilee because they couldn't foreclose and take everybody's houses and everybody's cars because the dollar crashed. They just wiped it all out and created a whole new digital platform. They created a new digital dollar. The Lord showed me lines of people standing at Target stores trying to get food. They weren't dressed like they were in poverty-looking clothes. That's what the third or fourth I know Dana Coverstone saw the same thing too. They were nicely dressed. In other words, their money left quickly. They still had nice clothes on. It was like the money just left suddenly. It was like just like it happened overnight. People were in lines at Target or Walmart. Lines were like a mile long. There was no products and there was no food there. There was hardly anything left in the stores. People were waiting just to get whatever they could. I could see them all in a single file line that stretched out what seemed forever. He showed me certain cryptocurrencies that would go up in value. He showed me certain things that would happen with gold and silver. Remember, Shane Warren said that silver would skyrocket far more than gold. He showed me the euro. The euro would be in trouble because of what was going on in Europe and this Ukraine war. It was all going to happen like dominoes falling one after another, quickly. They've all said that. Then Leslie had a dream. Dream starts, Stan and I being warned to fill our car with gasoline. Immediately we went out to the nearest gas station, a convenience store. Convenience store was full of people. Right after Stan filled our tank, other cars arrived trying to get food and gas. We watched from a distance, store manager yelling, "There's no more gas." People running out carrying as much food as possible. They emptied the store of everything. Sitting in our car nearby, we watched as people began to fist fight, push, shove, and bend. Many pulled out their guns. Several news helicopters filming the scene. Then military helicopters arrived. Is that the internal revolution? Troops began rappelling to the ground, get the chaos under control. That evening, we watched the chaos from a distance. JosephKitchen.com if you need food. ProphecyClubGold.com if you need to get your paper into precious metals. EMP Shield, you must use promo code PROPHECY. And if you want to get one of these devices to put on your house or your car so that it won't fry the computer chip, prophecyclub.com for DVDs, watch Prophecy Club for streaming. Now, let me also, here's the special. So we put together a 10 DVD package we're giving you. Now, yes, we're asking for donations because it's summertime, but a 10 DVD package. Each one of these is about 2.5 hours each. Gift of $30 is what we used to ask for them, so this is value $300. We're making it free to you. You can go ahead and watch any of these or all of them free until the end of June. Nice gift. Here's what you do. You go to watchprophecyclub.com and then you click on this one. It says Antichrist. That's the very first DVD we ever made at the Prophecy Club, and it's pretty crude, but it's got some good information in it. If you want to know some of the things it's talking about, you can pause and read that. If you want to know some of the other things that we're offering you, pause and read that. In the meantime, ask Jesus to forgive your sins. Ask Jesus to be your God. I've not talked about our books for a long time, so I'm going to take a minute and explain them. First of all, I think this is the very best book that I've ever written. And it's called The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, but it does not have the word rapture in it, does not discuss it. This is only talking about Bible prophecy. So the story is in 2017, I memorized the book of Revelation. I got 30 revelations, 2 visions, and an audible voice. God showed me the word first fruits is a secret door that links Revelation and the feasts, showing the correct chronological order of Revelation. One prophetic word says there is a lock that I put over a word in the book of Revelation. I'm going to open it to you, and it will turn many books written on the end-time message into obsolete books. That's this book. Then I next wrote Miss the Mark. And it's for anyone. It's simple. It's if they read 3 pages, they'll read the whole book. If they read the whole book, they will never take the mark of the beast. Also, this Tribulation Secrets in Daniel is just the most important parts of Daniel that someone living in a tribulation needs to know. These are the best prophecies from the last 32 years of studying and teaching Bible prophecy from Dimitri Duduman, Michael Boldale, Leslie Johnson, Henry Groover, Shane Warren, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, and more. Each set of these, in other words, this is a set of 10, a set of 10, a set of 5, a set of 10, a set of 5. It's a total of 40 books. You can get one set of each, 40 books, for a gift of $100 at prophecyclub.com. We also put together a Watchman's package, which contains 2 2-foot by 3-foot charts and my handwritten book of Revelation, 5 DVDs on the School of the Watchman, and 5 of the copies of Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, all valued at $355 for a gift of $200. prophecyclub.com.